Hey everyone, how's it going? As everyone know, Wonder Woman is a really great DC movie. So I decided, hey, if I'm starting to watch DC movies, why not talk a few things about Batman v Superman, the DC movie that really put DCEU on the map. Now, I know a lot of people really hate this movie, and some of them were okay with it, and there were really hardcore DC fans who will defend this movie to the death. But personally, though, I don't think it's a horrible movie. I think it's a okay movie with some major flaws. I think this movie had a great production value. The action sequences, the cinematography, it's all really well done. And to some extent, really well done than some of the better superhero movies, in my opinion. Some of the actings were really good too, especially coming from Ben Affleck. There's no particular actor who did a bad job, in my opinion. But I think what failed the movie is the script. They tried to do too many things in one time. They tried to have two different movies, or hell, even 3 or 4 different movies crammed into one. And that created a lot of chaos in the writings. Now, instead of complaining about this movie, I would like to mention 5 things that Batman v Superman could have improved that will improve this movie. It won't make this movie great. There are more plot holes that I won't be covering, but it will improve it. Number 1. A more focused Batman story. I think most people agree that Ben Affleck as Batman is one of the best parts of this movie. Ben Affleck is a really good actor. He can portray his emotions really well, and he has a very strong deliverance. And as Batman, he is very convincing. His anger towards the injustice of the society and his frustration is very well shown. And most importantly, his motivation of killing Superman actually make more sense than Superman's hatred for Batman. So why is it necessary for us to have another movie on Superman that is trapped in a Batman movie? I think it will only convolute the plot and make it even less interesting, because given by how Man of Steel was received, there were a good portion of people who didn't like this interpretation of Superman. In my opinion, I really liked Man of Steel. I think it was a really underrated superhero movie, but certainly not for the most people. Not to mention, the story of Superman in this movie is the least interesting part, in my opinion. All he does in the movie is looking very depressed and doesn't do anything to help with his situation. Captain America Civil War has already proven that you can make a movie about 2 superheroes fighting well balanced while focusing on one superhero alone. Sometimes less is more. It's more about the quality of the story, not the quantity of the plot elements. Long story short, this should have been a Batman movie rather than a Superman and Batman movie combined together. Number 2, having a more subtle Lex Luthor. Many people really hated Jesse Eisenberg's version of Lex Luthor, but in his defense, I think he did a really good job given what the script asked him to do. The problem here isn't his acting, the problem is the script. In all the previous interpretations of Lex Luthor, he's always cruel, shrewd, charming, and would use anything in his power to stop Superman. But this is not what we're getting here. You may argue, okay, each movie has their own interpretations of characters, and with the change of time, characters may change differently. I agree. I think characters should change with time, like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman recently, and also Chris Evans' Captain America. But the difference is, these character changes work well with the script that was written. Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor doesn't. The whole movie has a very serious tone to it, and have Lex Luthor goofing around like Jim Carrey just doesn't work well. So I think it would have been better if the movie stick with a more conservative version of Lex Luthor. At this point, it is no secret that DC are making a Justice League movie and they're trying to assemble all the heroes together. However, for the purpose of this movie, they're thrashing in way too many references that it became a distraction. I mean, just look at the title of the movie, Dawn of Justice. It's basically an announcement for a prologue to Justice League. I really don't like it when there are a huge chunk of things that happens in the movie that has no consequences to the plot whatsoever. But then you would argue, oh, how come Marvel did it so well? Look at the Avengers, it's a success, but there are so many references. Well, we'll get to that. Number 4, oh my god, that's famous Martha scene.
Why did you say that name? Martha, why did you say that name?
Stop! Please, stop!
Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name!
I don't need to say anything at this stage. Those of you who've seen this movie knew that this is one of the dumbest lines written in all superhero movies, no matter how much you try to justify it. But in my opinion, here's how this scene could have improved better. Batman has Superman cornered and is about to kill Superman, and then Superman shouts out in despair, "If you kill me, you are gonna kill my mother. Please, if you do anything, please save my mother." At this stage, we can have all the flashback Batman had before, and then he comes to the realization that Superman could be as vulnerable as he is, and by killing Superman, he's no better than the people who killed his own mother. There could be scenes where there are no dialogue, no music, and Batman just reflecting the times where he had fun with his parents. That could be more emotionally powerful than the scenes we got here. Honestly though, I have a feeling that this is the thing Zack Snyder wanted to go for, but there's something wrong with the execution. And last but not least, have some post-credit scenes. Moments ago, I asked myself the question, how come Marvel included so many references way better than DC? Well, the post-credit scenes is the answer. Some people hated post-credit scenes and they were like, oh, we had to sit through a long list of cast and crews just to get a few minutes of extras? How cliche is that? Well, I think these people missed the point of the post-credit scenes, especially in the big shared universe franchise movie. In my opinion, these are the scenes that were not essential to the essential plot element, but are helpful to expand the universe that this movie lies in and give us a tease of what the other outcoming movies will be like. I think from a storytelling and marketing point of view, this is a genius idea. Let's take Captain America: The Winter Soldier for example. It is very grounded in reality and is an amazing spy thriller. I think it's the best MCU movie and probably one of the best comic book movie I've ever seen. At the post-credit scene, we are introduced to Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Do they have connection with the movie? Yes, because these two are the victims and product of the organization Hydra. But will including them in the movie make sense? No, because the movie is grounded in reality and there is a lot of things that were relative to the real world that we're living in right now. Putting two supernatural human beings with supernatural powers would not fit with the tone of the movie. So putting these two in the post-credit scene will not only expand the universe the movie is in and give us a prelude to the next MCU movie, but will protect the structure of the Winter Soldier movie itself as well. On the surface, DC is trying very hard to differentiate itself from the MCU movie, and some of them even go out and insult MCU. But on the inside, they shared a lot of similarities with MCU and even are copying elements from MCU as well. For instance, why do they hire Joss Whedon, the director of Avengers and probably the key success factor to the MCU movie? I think there's no shame in learning from your opponent, and DC is becoming well aware of that. So overall, this is what I think Batman v Superman could have improved. And in all honesty, I'm still looking forward to DCEU. One of the biggest advantages DCEU has is they have the rights to all of their characters, when Marvel is still struggling to retain some of their characters back, such as X-Men, which personally I would hope to see X-Men in the future MCU movies. The success of Wonder Woman has proven that DCEU can make great movies, even though it is only a solo movie. I heard that there were a lot of production problems with the new Justice League movie, and let's say even Justice League movie will be a mess, there's still Aquaman movies that is another solo movie, and I'm sure the success of Wonder Woman will help DCEU to correct their mistakes. By the way, if you haven't seen Wonder Woman, what are you doing? Go and watch that movie. It is pretty awesome.